It's October 4th, 2017. I'm standing in my hospital room by the window. I'm wearing these dark gray sweatpants and a pink t-shirt that says Girl Squad. The light in the room is dimmed. I open up the curtains. And I see the sky. Painted in pink, blue, and purple colors, and I feel overwhelmed. Not by its beauty, but by sadness. I feel it again. And a great deal of fear, and I think to myself, wow, what a beautiful sunrise. I would have really enjoyed it had I not found out about my daughter's Down syndrome diagnosis yesterday. I'm not able to take in the beauty of the sunrise, so I close those curtains to lay back down on my bed. But before I turn off the light, I look over to the crib right next to my bed. Luna is asleep. I look at her beautiful face. But as opposed to the colors I just saw right outside my window, inside there's a dark cloud hanging over my head. And I think to myself, I guess she'll never go to regular primary education. What if no one ever falls in love with her? I guess she'll never get married. There it is. Did you hear that? My code. As long as my daughter gets married, goes to school, and gets married, everything will be all right. It might not seem like it, but I'm happy to say that that dark cloud has lifted a long time ago. When I now look at my daughter dancing around the room and singing her heart out, I see all of her and all of her potential. I now think to myself, why in the world would someone not fall in love with her? Should she ever meet someone, she can get married if she wants to. But that's when I realized how much I had been programmed, that I was now forced to change my code of what it means to have a daughter. Apparently, there's no one formula. Surprise. They say it takes a village to raise a child. As much as that saying resonates with me, I'm sure it does with some of you. There's another piece of the puzzle that I feel I need to include. A child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. Once upon a time, there was this boy, Jacob. He was always left out, always socially excluded, not part of the village, of the tribe, of the class. Because he wasn't included, he started to bully. Because he was bullying, he was, of course, again met with rejection. So he was stuck in this vicious cycle. And they decided to take him out of that class because he was about to burn down that village. In 2021, there was a research done where they reviewed 147 studies, 147, published over a time span of 12 years. They looked at these studies, and in these studies, they came up with solutions for social inclusion for kids with different disabilities. The majority of the solutions that they offered were not aimed at the environment, they were not aimed at the code, they were aimed at the kid. Right there. Another code. The kid needs fixing. Maybe you ever heard someone saying, oh yeah, that kid, that's the code. The kid needs fixing. In my opinion, everyone could use social skills training. Kids with disabilities, without disabilities, I would sign up in a heartbeat. If you talk to me later, you'll notice I can get really socially awkward. But mainly focusing on the kid that's being excluded and not so much on the kids doing the excluding. You're only adding to the trauma of the kid. Right there. It's that kid. As time passes by, I notice that I'm more and more fueled with a sense of urgency. My daughter, Luna, is now in regular primary education. But the struggle to keep her there is real. On one hand, the school welcomed her with what seemed to be open arms, but they did have some demands. She does need a counselor shadowing her. Great. On the other hand, you have to apply for a budget to pay for that counselor. That is a recurring thing. So you have to keep hearing, your kid is doing well, but she does still need a counselor. And you have to keep proving and explaining, my kid is doing well, but she does still need a counselor. So you're in the middle. That's an educational system that's simply not made for people like her. This, to me, raises another important question. What about her environment? What about the kids in her class? Do we need to fix Luna? Do we need to take her out of the environment? Or is it maybe an idea to leave her in that environment and to teach the kids about disabilities and the importance of inclusion from a very early age on? My coach, Sarah, shared her story with me. She said, on a summer day, I was at home, and my son came in from outside, and he said, Mom, I don't want to play with the boy outside. And I asked him why, and he said, because the boy outside only has 2 fingers. And I didn't know what to say. I get it. But it's moments and opportunities like these that we have to seize. These can be the groundbreaking, life-changing, ring-a-ding-ding-ding-ding aha moments. These can be the moments where we teach our kids the power of asking questions. Not to make the other person uncomfortable or to steer the conversation in a direction we want it to go. No. Teaching them to ask questions out of genuine curiosity. What happened to your hand? Does it hurt? Do you like to play soccer? Should I come outside with you and ask so you can ask? I'm not judging. I know what it's like to deal with the unknown. It's uncomfortable. We don't like to be uncomfortable. For the longest time, I struggled with the diagnosis. I struggled with Down syndrome. I like Up syndrome. I prefer that. But in a conversation, what do I call it? Is it a disability? Doesn't feel right. Are they special needs? Extra needs? Neurodiversity? And as the poetry lover and the poet that I am, that's when it hit me. This phrase came to mind. What's in a name? Just like that. What's in a name? Because I don't know if you heard it, but I hope you heard code number 3 hidden right there. Ooh, that's uncomfortable. But I'm not going to ask any questions because I don't want to be even more uncomfortable. Code number 3 is also not helping. The thing is, I truly believe that we need to become more comfortable with being different ourselves and with others being different from us. Inclusion, true inclusion, is not about denying differences. I don't see that. Yeah, I do. It's about acknowledging those differences and not tolerating, but accepting those differences. It's about teaching our kids the importance of including others, why bullying is not okay, teaching them to look beyond what the eyes can see. If you cut us open, we all bleed, but we're not all the same, and that is a good thing. That's a good thing. And we need to embrace that. Even if our codes don't align, treating everyone equally. Hannah and Zoe. These two girls will forever be my little heroes. I like to call them decoders. They're Luna's two best friends. When Luna walks across the schoolyard, they're excited that she's there. Frankly, sometimes they're not that excited because they're kids, but generally speaking, they're excited that she's there. They make her feel seen, and I feel it too. On a crisp fall morning, I'm making my way through the gates, walking across the schoolyard. I'm wearing a white raincoat. I'm carrying Luna on my right arm, holding her backpack in my left hand. She's wearing a purple coat with orange flowers and has her hair up in a bun. Right in front of the classroom, I put her down, I kiss her cold cheek, and I tell her to have fun, and I wink at the teacher because we're a little late. She walks into the classroom, and I spot Zoe. Zoe walks over to Luna, and they hug. The sky is gray, but in my head, the sun is shining. So bright. I wave goodbye. I turn around, and as I walk back to my car, I realize just how important it is to have kids like Hannah and Zoe, kids that like you just as you are. So let's raise butterflies. We need change makers and trailblazers. We need those pioneers, those who aren't afraid to raise their voice for the voiceless, to have an open heart and speak up for those that are speechless. We need change makers and trailblazers, those who raise the bars and leave beautiful impressions instead of emotional scars. We need our kids to not be bitter, but better. We need to pave the way, otherwise they will stay stuck in a world that holds codes that disregard all the stories that were left untold, codes that we could have changed. We need to pave the way. Let's be that village. Let's be that village that raises no bullies, but butterflies. The village that teaches our kids about so much more than all the colors in the sky. You and I are more alike than different. Let's teach our kids to ask questions, but ask questions that make a difference. Thank you.